Well, the first week is in the books. 1-1-1. Dylan and Chris, we're going to get into it. ArmChair GM podcast brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network.
Well, how about that new system, Chris? The team still hasn't quite got it, but I see little snippets of pretty good hockey, but it's a lot of defensive breakdowns.
Yeah, I mean, the zone coverage is great and all. I don't know that everybody knows what their zone is. I think there needs to be a bit of communication. It's pretty sloppy so far.
Yeah, which I expected. I don't know if you expected that, but uh having such a defensive coach as Sutter come in and do the man-to-man thing and be so strict about everything, switching that was going to take some time anyways, I think.
Well, yeah, especially when we did make any changes through the off season. You're trying to drill in a completely new system for existing players, and obviously it's going to take 5-10 games before it starts to fully gel and take effect. And
Yeah.
obviously we're 3 games in, so I mean, I'm hoping by the end of October they're looking like they've bought into the system and ready to actually claim their own zone, which would be nice. It'd be refreshing based on what we've seen for the first 3 games.
Yeah. I mean, again, I can see a little bit of it when it's working, but like you said, the guys don't quite know what their zone is yet. I saw quite a few, especially in the first couple games. I saw a few instances where even Tanev and some of the other defensemen, the puck would be going what looked to be in between two different zones, right? For people who don't know what zone defense is, it's where everybody's essentially assigned a portion of the defensive zone, and that's where they are, and they defend anyone who goes into that. It's a pretty basic way of describing it, but they defend anyone who goes into that zone. All those guys are now theirs to defend.
Yeah, and there's also a few times where I've seen it kind of come together nicely, where all of a sudden there's a nice looking quad on the ice, and you know, I think it's actually been taking better shape during the penalty kill than it has 5-on-5. It's easier to do a grid of 4 players to break down a defensive zone than it is 5, right?
Exactly. But there's been times where the puck has gone what looks to be in, like, I don't know exactly what all their zones are supposed to be, how they're broken up, but it looks like two guys are looking at each other like, is that your puck or is that my puck? Whose puck is that? And then one of the opposing players goes right in and gets the puck because our two guys are frozen because they don't quite know who's going in for that puck yet.
Yeah.
And again, that's just a matter of spending a little bit more time with the coach, I think.
Yeah, Huska's got to get it through in a way that they're going to catch on quickly, right? We don't want to start falling behind where it takes 15 games for them to kind of clue into what's happening. Season's short enough as it is.
I was giving them about 8 games, and if it still looked bad in 8 games, I was going to start getting a little frustrated with it. But again, I think it's perfectly reasonable for them to struggle with a brand new system for a little bit, right? Like,
yeah,
you're drilling new habits into their brains while getting rid of old habits at the same time. It's not the easiest thing to do in a bunch of preseason games with playing with players that aren't actually going to be on the team, and then just a couple of regular season games, right? Like, it's going to take a little while.
Yeah, actually, it's going to take a bit. Also getting some offensive flow would be nice as well. Um, Obviously, we're looking at pretty much the same rough lines for all three games. Minus maybe a couple of moves, but nothing major. So I think once we start getting flow north going north and flow coming back, I think it'll come together. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm still kind of on the fence on what I think the season's going to be this year. But
Yeah, me too. Um, I mean, I think that there's a lot of no possibilities of it actually going pretty well, especially with how pretty much all of the Pacific Division teams except the Golden Knights have started. Like the Oilers started off bad. The Canucks started off well, but I don't think that's likely to last long. Um, and all of the other teams are just in the middle, right? So
yeah,
I don't think that anyone's especially just 3 games in, nobody's breaking away too fast. So if you give it a little bit for them to get it, and nobody's too far ahead, then I do think that once they get it, especially with how Markstrom has been performing, and I think Huberdeau. I haven't talked to you about Huberdeau yet, but I think how both of those guys have been performing. Um, it's been a really good sign
mhm,
of what's to come, especially once they get that system.
yep, yep. The more to come on the system, I guess. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what it starts looking like in November, and at that point, I expect there to be solidified lines and things like that.
At least solidified pairings. Like I think there mostly is already solidified pairings up front. Like
Mhm.
Huberdeau and Huberdeau and Lindholm and Kadri, and it looks like Dubé and Backlund and Coleman type of thing. Like they're keeping certain players together and they're moving all of the other, which is understandable.
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah, that's all good. So
Yeah,
what do you want to do? You want to break down game one, Winnipeg in Calgary?
yeah. Let's do it.
So where do we start? Got good production. Obviously somewhat of a rival coming into town to start the season. And obviously Mangiapane scores first goal. That makes sense.
Yeah, which is good. I really want Mangiapane to prove me wrong. I
Sure.
really do, because that would mean he's consistently producing, but he's already dropped off. So,
Yeah, he's
but
already
he did
dropped
have a
off.
really good game because he was slotted to be on the second or third line that game, and they moved him up after Dubé took a penalty, I believe.
Yeah.
They moved him up onto that line, and then he scored 2 goals and looked really good against Winnipeg, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he had 2 goals and an assist, so obviously, good production from him. I personally don't believe that Dubé is the answer on the top line. He doesn't look like there's a lot of chemistry between the three, in my opinion.
It
Um,
didn't look it again. It was like half a game, but it didn't look like it. You're right.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think there's a whole bunch of chemistry between Mangiapane and those two either.
that's
Um,
true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, got to find a spot for 88 though, right?
Gotta find a spot for everyone. And like maybe it's time to try Sharon Govich up there again. Like he hasn't been popping, but that shootout shot was really close to going in. But that showed the shot that he has, and I'd be interested to see him with a little bit more space and a good playmaker. Um, so maybe we'll
He,
see that one day. I'm not sure.
he does have a great shot, really quick release, which is nice, right? I think he can fool a lot of goaltenders if he's put in the right position. Um,
Absolutely.
and then we have two guys in Lindholm and Sharagovich that can play in front of the net and get into those dirty areas and probably, I think it would yield good results personally. Um, like I said,
I'd
I
like to
don't
see it.
necessarily want Andrew on that top line, um,
I
but
think the one thing that Sharangovich has shown me through the last 3 games, even though he's been in the bottom of the lineup for that whole time, is the ability to fetch the puck out and get it to his teammate. Um, and I think that's kind of what Huberto and Lindholm need. If you think about what Kachuk used to do, get into the corner, get the puck out, get it to Lindholm, bam in the net, right? And I don't expect Sharangovich to do what he did, right? But I think that he can do that part of it, and maybe gets a little bit of chemistry. He's a big body; he can get in there, get the puck, fire it out front.
Mhm.
Because I kind of want to get into Huberto a little bit later, but let's get on with that game.
All right. What is your opinion been so far of Greer in that game? I guess in particular, he didn't have much ice, a little bit less than 7 minutes. It was a +1. Had some shots on goal.
He had the first grade A opportunity of the season for the team.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a heck of a play, but I haven't had any problems. Like, I don't think he's been bad. I don't think he's been particularly great. He's been quick on the forecheck. He's
Mhm.
helped that fourth line eat up minutes, and for a guy who's making less than league minimum, I can't really complain about that.
No, exactly. I mean, obviously, we're talking about the fourth line, but I mean, I've been really appreciating his work ethic, his hustle. He's trying to remain in the lineup, which is pretty much all you can ask.
Oh, 100%.
But I think having him on the fourth line is a plus. He hits well. He's good at digging. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from him so far. Same with Tour, right? We know what he's all about. Just work, 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 and
Yeah, he hasn't been popping as much as I thought he would, honestly. Like, again, fourth line minutes, he's playing with Sharangovich and Greer. So he doesn't have maybe the most high skilled guys to play with, but um he does have it in him to dangle and do stuff like that. So hopefully one day, man, like I really think that he would be a good option higher up the lineup. I really do. He's got all the skill, and um, he just gets typecast into a fourth line role. But
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. The game one the fourth line had there was a big contrast between minutes between fourth line and effectively the rest. They were sitting at around 7 minutes while the rest is sitting around or starting at 13 and obviously going up from there. But
yeah,
then getting into the second game, they're playing 10 minutes, and so you can tell that Huska appreciates the work ethic and maybe just giving them more time to get the team going, right, get them energized. That's what they're
mm-hmm.
there for.
One thing that's actually been really impressing me is Jacob Markstrom. His numbers. It's actually kind of funny because his numbers in the 2 games I thought he was really good in weren't very good.
No,
But his numbers in the last game, which I thought he was not as good in, were his best numbers.
yeah, I yeah, I'm not. He's had some nice saves, which has been great. But he's also let in at least one shit goal per game, in my opinion. But
He's let in. I think he's let in 2 shitty goals out of 3 games.
yeah,
Um, the was it Ehlers or Connor? It was Connor, I
Yeah, the
think, that
Connor. Yeah.
scored. A leaky goal, right in the middle of the game, and but the thing is, Jacob stood on his head before that, stood on his head after that, bounced back after the bad goal, whereas last year he would continue to look bad for the rest of the game.
Yep.
It's obviously it's not ideal to let in shitty goals. I do think that a lot of that has to do with the system and specifically the breakout. Actually, I think
The breakout has been terrible.
yes.
Hannafin is especially struggling with that right now.
I find most of the defensemen are just kind of firing it right up the middle of the ice, hoping that one of their players is going to be there, but their forwards are all so far up the ice that nobody's there, and it just goes. I found it's been Shifley, Crosby, it's basically Backstrom, Kuznetsov. Like it's just been the center. The center has
Yeah.
picked off the pass the vast majority of the time, and it leads to the Flames being hemmed in their own end, which is not super encouraging. Um, I think that the forwards need to hang back just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, the forwards and Hannafin has had some just terrible gaps in passes coming out of the zone, or at least from behind the net, in my opinion. Um, so I mean, he's got to get that under wraps. He's looking for a contract, and that shit is not helping him.
Yeah, he looked really, really good in preseason. Like everyone was really impressed with how much he was shooting, how well he was skating, and I think it's just kind of consistently gone down since like his play level has consistently gone down since the season started.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm trying my best to see good things. I've been trying this year. Is I've been trying to see good things in the players that I have a bias against already because of what I've seen from them in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really trying to see good things from Hannafin, and he's just doing the giveaway thing again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more striking now, in my opinion, or it appears to be. I guess would be a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Well,
you
that's
do you think Markstrom's been good? Would you call it good, or would you call it better than he was last year? Would you call it
yeah.
good enough? What would you say?
I mean, obviously better than last year. I mean that goes without saying. But uh, I mean, the fact that I think we went 10 shots there in the first game before he let in a goal. I mean, that was, I'm sure,
I think it was like
90,
13.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was like 19 or 90% of the fan base probably just had a big sigh of relief, just like holy shit, he saved the first shot and the second.
Yeah.
Moving forward,
Near the
he had
beginning of the third game, our buddy Matt, he put in group chat, he's like, Markstrom stopped the first three shots of the game in 3 games straight. What's going on
yeah.
here?
Well, that flurry in the Pittsburgh game in the first period, which we'll get into when we start talking about that game, was I mean that was unreal.
Yeah.
So like he's had some really strong
Stretches.
stretches, and he's had some not as good, but I mean no, I don't have a problem with how he's been playing so far. He's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't I'm not the type that's gonna go he was unreal. I mean we did lose 2 out of 3 games, so
Yeah. Um, you see, I do think he was unreal. I think that the team left him out to dry quite often. Um, yeah, I like and he made a lot of second, third, fourth opportunity saves. Um, and one thing that's been impressing me is his confidence level. You can tell he's confident, and his puck tracking, which was absolutely shit last year. But if you look at his head this year, you can see that he knows where it is.
Yeah.
which you can't say about last year. So um I do again, I think everything kind of comes back to the system. Most of what we're probably going to talk about today comes back to the system. And I think that once some of the things in front of him get cleaned up, I think that um his save percentage is going to go way up. He's still going to get shit on until he has 8 shutouts this year because that's just how fickle the fan base is. But you know,
I mean, I don't need him to get shutouts. I just want to see a stretch of it, right? I
yeah,
mean,
I want to see him continue the level of play that he's had. I don't need him to have a 930 save percentage. If he has a 910, 915, this team's a playoff team, right?
yeah, if he had a 911, which I believe is his career average anyways, if he had that last year, we were comfortably in the playoffs.
We would have been probably second in the division.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I just want that. I want league average goaltending from our starting goaltender.
me
Is that
too,
too much to ask?
man. No, and I think I'm going to knock on wood here, but I like to think that he's well on his way to doing that because even though his numbers don't show it, I do think he's been much better. And just the story has been, for me anyways, Markstrom has got the Flames 3 points that they haven't deserved.
Huh. I mean, scoring 5 goals in the first game probably has a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, Hellebuck was fucking terrible too, but
That
um,
helps.
I do think the Jets outplayed us that game, and I think that the Pittsburgh Penguins outplayed us. I think that we outplayed the Capitals, and that was his worst game. But
Which, oddly enough,
was his
was
best numbers.
right. Well, no, but that's okay. His save percentage was higher against Winnipeg.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
919 in Winnipeg, 913 against Washington.
Oh, well, good. I'll take that.
Yeah, like so far his save percentage for this year after 3 games is 898.
Which
With
isn't good.
no, it's
But
just slightly better than what he was last year, as well as his goals against average is less than is more than it was last year. So
yeah,
I mean, like I said, I mean he's trending in the right direction, but I'm not there with
you're
him yet.
not you're not as sold as I am. Again, it's a small sample size, and I don't want to say I'm sold because he has, like you said, he has to have a stretch about it.
Mhm.
Um, have a stretch of good play. And I don't mean 3 games, I mean 10, 12, 15, right?
Well, yeah, because he's going to likely play 60 games again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're if he's
I think
playing
I have
60
him
games, and
projected out for 58.
yeah, yeah, I mean if he's playing 60 games, and we need him to win, at least 30.
Mm-hmm.
So far, he's won 1 out of 3.
Yeah.
The NFL season is going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game day this October. Get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet 5 on the NFL. That's code THPN. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, LA. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
What do you think of the Pittsburgh game? Let's move on to that.
Pittsburgh was, I mean, it just broke down, right? It was looking good, and then it just went to shit.
Yeah. At the beginning of the third period there.
Yeah.
I believe we were up 1-0, right? Off of that nice Coronado goal.
Yeah, Coronado goal in the second, and then just one right after the other.
Yeah.
It was a terrible start to the third, and then
Coronado's has been thus far proving me wrong.
Mhm.
If he continues how he's been playing, if he plays like that for another few games, I'll have to start eating my words. That's for sure.
He doesn't look out of place there.
He
Which
doesn't, and his grinding, like it's almost grinding. Just his puck retrieval, maybe not ability to actually retrieve the puck, but his willingness to go get it, to try to go get it, has been really impressive. And his shot is very impressive as well.
he does have a very good shot. The one
Yeah.
the one thing that once it gets later on in the season, I would like to see how he progresses, how he handles this many games. Obviously, the college scene is quite different, right? They don't play very many games, and so that's where I'm kind of going to hold off on my judgment, until we get
Yeah.
into February and see if he still has that same jump and that same pep that he's skating around with right now.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to play 82 games. I don't even know exactly what the college schedule is, but I know that usually they play like maybe a couple games a week on weekends or something like that, and it's not even like not that often, right? Whereas obviously you can play 3-4 games a week in the NHL, and you're traveling quite far a lot of the time, and all that type of stuff, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
see how that works. Hopefully he's got it in him to keep pressing, man, to keep on going, because I don't know.
The
That
one,
Pittsburgh game though, that breakdown at the beginning of the third period, I think it was 2 goals in 20 something seconds, 2 goals against.
yeah,
I
40.
don't think either of those goals were Markstrom's fault.
No, I don't necessarily say they're his fault. I mean, they're both stoppable pucks, but
I don't know if that one that came from behind him was, but I think the rest of them were stoppable.
yeah, you're right. That was gross.
Yeah.
One thing I am noticing though, our face-off percentage is good, trending in the great area. To be honest,
I think
Pittsburgh game was
especially
our
Lindholm.
yeah. Well, even Backlund too. Like
Yeah.
in against Pittsburgh, he was 57%.
That's really good.
Yeah,
To win
Lynn.
well over half of your face-offs, then that goes
Yeah,
a long way to keeping the puck.
yeah, he was even better in Washington at 66.7. So I mean, he's doing his job.
Did you say 67?
66.7. Yeah,
That's pretty good, man.
yeah, yeah. Lindholm in that first game against Winnipeg was unreal. He was 84%.
That is so good. And like Winnipeg, I mean, Andrew Kopp is kind of a face-off specialist, right? Or
Yeah.
not Kopp, Lowry, Adam
Lowry.
Lowry.
Yeah.
Is kind of a face-off specialist. Sorry, I was just watching the Detroit game. Andrew Kopp, Adam Lowry, very much the same player in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Lindholm hasn't been, as good in the other two, 50 and 58 against Washington, but still,
that's still good. That's still
yeah,
over half, right?
Mhm. Yeah. And so, I mean, all three games, we were 50. Sorry, Winnipeg, we were 61%. Pittsburgh were 53.1, and in Washington we were even better at 61.3. So, I mean,
Yeah.
centers are doing their job, and obviously, one of the easiest way to start winning games is to possess the puck more often. And so, if we can keep those numbers going at the center position, I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally agree. Especially coming from the defensive zone once the breakouts get cleaner, which I believe they will. I think this is just growing pains. But once the breakout gets cleaner, winning faceoffs and breaking out is going to be huge for our team, especially with guys like Coronado and hopefully Kadri can stop being the biggest liability in the history of the NHL. But fuck. We'll talk about that in a second too. But yeah, I thought that we actually played pretty good for the majority of that Pittsburgh game, but that the last period especially was just a complete shit show, honestly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they dominated, and it shows on the scoreboard, right?
Yeah.
Going to third, being up 1-0, and then within within 5 minutes, we're down 3-1.
Yeah. And Malkin, man, that shot by Malkin is
Oh yeah,
so fucking elite and just so in tight. Like, it kind of reminds me of how Monahan used to be able to shoot the puck. Just raising it really, really quickly and really in tight, because there was no space and there was a guy in between him and the goalie.
Yeah.
And he still raised it that quick. Like, it was quite amazing.
Well, yeah. I mean, we obviously know that Malkin has been an elite player for a long time now. So I mean,
15 years.
yeah, it's not surprising by me that he's
Yeah.
able to pull stuff like that off. He's an
Yeah.
incredible player, always has been.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Move on to the next game. Washington.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, I thought we dominated a big chunk of that game.
We
pretty
should have
much
won that game.
should have won that game for sure. We effectively kept Ovechkin out of the game completely.
Yeah, he had a couple of shot attempts. I don't even know if he got any shots on goal. But yeah, he did seem quite quiet to me.
Yeah, one hit, no shots.
No shots. Yeah, like, that's to keep Ovechkin at no shots is pretty impressive. However,
that's that zone defense, baby.
Yeah. However, there are some players that we didn't keep off the score sheet.
Yeah, the elite Matthew Phillips.
Yeah. You know how I feel about it.
I know. You cried.
I just absolutely lost my shit. I've always been really sad that he didn't get a chance here. No, I don't give two fucks. We had two other Calgary Flames draft picks who were on our team who also got 2 points each, and nobody gave two fucks about them. So, and one of them is pretty much a local boy too, but nobody gave two fucks about them. Everyone's just up in arms about a third liner or fourth liner on the
fourth line
Washington Capitals. Like, who gives two fucks? Yeah. Other than everybody, apparently.
Oh yeah, he's the subject. I mean,
move on.
All right, Sonny Milano. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of giving a shit. No, I mean, like, we dominated that game in a lot of ways. We had 40 shots on goal, which is let's get back to last year where we have way too many non-quality shots hitting the crest of the goalie.
Yeah, and like the thing is not as many are coming from low danger areas. I think that their goalie did pretty well there. But I also think that we didn't like. Yeah, I know it's frustrating because we should have won that game. I do think we should have won that game. Phillips' goal came off of one of those breakout interceptions that I talked about earlier. Can't even remember who it was. Tried to send the puck out of the zone, and Phillips' teammate intercepted it and passed it to Phillips, and he scored. But
Phillips,
is what
yeah,
it is.
Milano up to Phillips. What a dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and then that gets us into overtime, where fucking Kadri happens. What
Okay, while
like
we're
what
on
was
Kadri, I want to rewind to the first time I noticed him all season.
which defender did he run into during that?
No, not that game. Or sorry, not even that move. It was another classic Kadri thing where he got dumped in front of the net and was sitting on the ice with his hands out looking at the ref while the puck was going the other way. Instead of like getting up and going after the puck, he was just like complaining to the ref, sitting like. You're more likely to get the benefit of the doubt if you just keep fucking playing.
Yep.
And as far as skating into the ref, or sorry, not into the ref, into a defender is concerned, Kadri does this thing where he'll skate into the offensive zone, and then he doesn't actually use his teammates. He gets tunnel vision, and he tries to either take the puck in to the net by himself, or he takes a shot from the blue line unscreened. But while he's doing that, he tries to skate through somebody who's like 1.5 times his size. He
Yep.
did it to Trouba last year. He did it to John Carlson the other day. I counted 6 times in 2.5 periods that he did it against Washington, and each time turns into a giveaway. One of the opponents gets the puck and breaks it out, and then it's off to the races the other way.
Yep.
I don't know why he doesn't want to use his teammates in the offensive zone. He passes in the defensive zone all the time. He
Yep.
knows how. He just refuses to do it once he gets into the offensive zone. It drives me fucking batshit crazy.
Yeah, it's super frustrating to watch him in the offensive zone. I mean, I don't know how many times like he just skates towards the blue line. He's a hindrance. Like our defenders will have the puck and he's in the way. Get out of the way.
Oh, yeah, he skated right into one of our players with the puck. There was nobody else around him. He just skate. He's a mobile pylon. He's like trying to get in people's way, like our into Calgary Flames players' way or into the defenders' way when the defenders are defending. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like he's a liability out there right now. Like against Winnipeg, he was a -2. We won the game 5-2.
Yeah. How do you do that?
Right. Or sorry, 5-3. But
yeah,
but still a -2 in that game. Like you're a liability.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree. And like I don't take a whole bunch of credence into that stat all the time.
No, I know.
Sometimes
but
I mention it to get my point across, even though I don't really look at it.
Yeah.
But
I'm the same way. I don't look at it as a valid stat either. But when the team scores 5 goals and you're not on the ice for any of them,
mhm.
but you're giving the puck away for or being in that scenario to give the puck away for goals against, like, come on.
Yeah, it's frustrating to watch with Kadri. I just hope we're not talking about this for 6 more years. I hope that Huska sees it, and I hope that he works with Kadri, because you don't play how Kadri played in Colorado without having good habits. I don't care who you're playing with. I don't care how good the players you're playing with are. You don't play how, like Kadri legitimately played really well in Colorado. So he had a year off of playing how he's playing in Calgary. He played like that in Toronto, and he was terrible for that whole time.
Yeah.
And then he went to Colorado and played out of his mind. And then he came to Calgary, got paid, and just started shitting the bed. He had like 2 good weeks in Calgary, period.
Yeah. The I mean, according like that Jets game, according to the NHL stats, he had two giveaways in that game. You can't do that.
That doesn't seem correct, but okay.
I mean, that's what they officially like. They also don't count hits or stuff like that properly either. So
Mhm.
I mean, like, it's just it's really frustrating to watch him on the ice, and
Mhm.
I couldn't imagine being a teammate to somebody like that. Like, that would really.
Especially somebody trying, like, because they started Coronado on his line, and I feel like the reason that they moved Coronado to the third line to play with Backlund is because Coronado wasn't getting touches because Kadri was not passing the fucking puck. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how you can be that fucking selfish. Like, there comes a point where I don't give 2 fucks how much money you're making. If you're playing that fucking badly, the press box is right fucking there. Bring up Connor Zary.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and he's eating up a ton of time. Like, he's on the
Yeah.
ice for 18 to 20 minutes a night. And,
Yeah.
something has to change there because I'm at the end of my rope with him.
100%. Let's talk about Jonathan Huberdeau though. How have you thought that he's played so far?
I thought he's been really good.
Did
He's
you? Okay, I didn't, because we haven't really talked about him. So
I've been happy with how he's been engaged in the play. He he uh, he still is finding it hard to find a player on his line that can receive his pass,
I
because
agree.
he will pass to you in such an unlikely scenario where you don't even think he's able to make the pass, but he pulls it off, and
Mhm.
and still, like, he's played with Lindholm quite a bit. Not as much as I thought he should have last year, but Lindholm needs to
For all those passes.
yeah, he needs to be paying attention, right?
Yeah.
Because Huberdeau is going to make that pass, and if you're not paying attention, it's just going to hit your stick or hit your blade and go off into the distance, which is kind of what's happening.
It's funny because I think both players have played very well on the same line, but separately, if you know what I'm saying. But I
No, I
don't
do.
think that they have all that much chemistry. Although I'd like to see it for a few more games before I really make that call and start calling for them to get broken up, because they are our 2 best forwards and they should be playing together at least for a little while to try and get it together. Um, but I agree, guys aren't corralling his passes, and um, a lot of them just aren't even ready for it. Like, it's not even that they're not um, gathering it in. Sometimes they're just not looking because
Mhm.
they don't know that it's coming, right? Um, but one thing that I really have been impressed with Jonathan Huberdeau, and you kind of said it, is his engagement. Um, However, I kind of think that that might be part of the problem of why people are frustrated with him, because his engagement doesn't look like Johnny Gaudreau's engagement, right? His
Right. I
his
mean, they're completely
engagement is
different style.
he uses his body and he gets on the boards and he tries to get the puck out and he's hoping somebody's there to get, whereas Johnny, and like the reason I use Johnny Gaudreau as a parallel here is because I think a lot of people expected him, including me, to kind of replace what Johnny Gaudreau did, but they're different players. They're both fantastic playmakers, but Gaudreau was more the type of guy who would wait further down the boards or in the middle of the ice to get the the, the pass,
Yeah,
or while
exactly.
somebody else was over there getting the puck for him, he was waiting to get the puck next. Whereas Huberdeau is the guy on the boards getting the puck and then looking for somebody to pass to,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
They have different
Exactly.
roles.
Yeah, Huberdeau goes in and digs. He retrieves the puck, um, or if he's in the open sea of the ice, he can create plays out of nothing, and that's
Absolutely.
that's definitely the difference between him and Gaudreau. Is Gaudreau obviously is not going into the corner and digging the puck out for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I like his plays in the corner and down low have been really nice. He's been busting his ass to make it happen, and I think it's been looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's been much better, I think, than he has. I think he's played his best, easily his best 3 game stretch as a Calgary Flame,
Mhm.
but also 3 of his best games. Like not even just as a stretch, but 3 of probably his 5 best games as a Flame he's had. And I think that's really encouraging because obviously you need your $10.5 million player to play well. Now, do I
Yeah,
think he's playing at a $10.5 million uh, pace? Probably not. But I do think that if he continues the way he's playing, I'm just going to throw a random, not random. I've thought about it, but kind of a projection out there. I think he could flirt with 30 goals because he's been shooting a ton too.
yeah.
He's shot a lot. I think he led us in shots one of the games and shot attempts. I think he's leading us in shot attempts through 3 games. I could be wrong though. I think I heard somebody on the radio say that, but I think he could flirt with 30 goals if he keeps playing the way he has played, and I think he could finish around 90-95 points, which people will still complain about because they don't think that $10.5 million is worth it for 95 points
Yeah.
or 90 points or whatever. But
I mean,
I'd love that. I'd love
e-
that if
especially in that Pittsburgh game, he had 5 shots in that game.
yeah.
5 shots that hit the net. So that I mean, he's had a ton, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Backlund had 5 shots in the Capitals game.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually
I mean,
haven't been super impressed with Backlund's play. I think he's taken some penalties, but you know, I haven't been super impressed with Backlund's play throughout the season, but he's also generally second half backs, right? So, um,
yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, he did take 2 penalties against Winnipeg. He hasn't had any since,
yeah,
but they
um,
they were kind of weird penalties too.
yeah.
Stuff that he knows better.
Well, exactly. And um, not that I'm chalking it off because it's not really a good excuse, but I do think that um, specifically in the Winnipeg game, not only while he was um taking the penalties, but just in general, I feel like he saw that C on his jersey, and he started trying to do things that weren't natural to him to prove
Yep.
that he deserved it,
Yeah,
instead of doing the things that got him that in the first place.
yeah, he's been initiating a lot of contact, after the play and things like that. I think he's trying to be, obviously not to the extent, but trying to be an Iginla.
Yeah, he's trying to be somebody he's not, which is, I mean, there have been times, I mean, specifically when he plays against Edmonton, he is like that.
Yep.
But I I don't want him to do that all the time. I don't think he needs to be doing that all the time. I just want him to be in position like he's so good at. Be in position defensively. As
That's your
he
job.
could drop off the face of the earth points wise, as long as he's in position defensively, he's the backline that I like.
Yep. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. No. I'm actually kind of surprised you said that you were impressed with Huberto so far, because I was ready to get on a little bit of a argument with you. I thought you were going to say no.
I I've heard from somebody that you like to get into discussions, we'll call it, with people. I don't know why. Just he's trying to be argumentative with me, and
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes. I think we both might have that in us. So
Well, that's what brought us together to do this show in the first place. Like, even like a couple years before we started the show, we argued quite often on in Facebook groups about the Flames, and specifically in Flames Hub. Join Flames Hub. But yeah, I feel like we've kind of realized that we like a lot of the same things when it comes to hockey, and we like we have the same set of principles when it comes to what we like in hockey, and it's for the most part, and it has settled us down as far as arguing with each other.
I think I think once we discovered that we both just simply hold the team accountable, um,
Yeah.
and started thinking about it objectively like that, it just made more sense.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you wanted to point out? Like, we haven't really talked about any of the defense. Actually, here's the question for you. When it comes to, it seems like every rush there's a D going up on the rush and going in the corners and around. And Hannafin had one really nice play actually where he, I believe he got 2 assists in that game or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but he had a really nice play where he actually went behind the net and passed it out front, and somebody scored.
Yep.
I can't remember who that was at this point. I just remember seeing it was Hannafin back there and being like, I don't like having my defense back there quite as much as it has been. Obviously it's got to happen sometimes, and TJ Brody is one of my favorite defensemen the Flames have had in many years, and he is just notorious for doing that. But
yeah,
like,
he had 2 primary assists in Washington.
Yeah.
The Rizika goal and the Dubé goal.
So how do you feel about those? It seems like Rasmus and Mackenzie and Noah and Nikita and the game Ostuli played. I've seen Tanev up there a couple times. Gilbert, not so much. Gilbert's just been staying back, which I like. But
yeah, and Tanev, he's done it a couple times, but I mean, he looks like he's uncomfortable
lost.
with it. He does not like it, which I'm fine with. He should just stay where he belongs on the blue line. Because obviously he's playing with with people that need to learn from him, right?
Mhm.
So I think Tanev is best set where he belongs on the blue line. Anderson, I don't mind if he engages because he's good at it. He's quick at getting back.
Same with McKenzie in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, absolutely. And both Anderson and McKenzie will put a lot of effort in getting back if they're caught, in the offensive zone like that. Like they'll actually bust their ass to get back there
It's
and be the first guy back against a player.
it's the only thing actually. I shit on Nikita for doing it all the time, but I do think that he is the most effective at getting back.
Mhm.
I just think he's not very effective at defending without taking a penalty a lot of the time. And when you're rushing to do that, I think like when you're rushing back because you were behind the offensive net, you're more likely to do something reactionary where you take a penalty, and that it
Yeah.
worries me more with him than it does with the other guys.
Yeah, it does
But
worry me more with him. I think a lot of that has to do with his size too. So when
yeah,
he's
but
going up
he's
against,
fucking
but it
quick.
looks like he's like molesting them, right? But he's
a,
but
a
he's
little
but
bit.
he's quick, and I mean he's had some really nice hits so far in the 3 games.
Yeah,
Two really nice ones in against Winnipeg.
yeah,
But I mean I know I've been a lot higher on Zadorov since he got here than you have been. I but I do like those big defenders that can put a hurting on you, right? That's the style of defense I prefer over say a Hannafin that's a little more offensively gifted. Same with Anderson, right? I mean they're not punishing defenders where that's kind of the era that I come from is I
yeah.
want my defenders to be like Robin Regier
The tunnel of
and
doom.
yeah, make you think twice about coming back behind the net or whatever.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and I think that Nikita has kind of proven me wrong a little bit, not all the way. Um, because I do think that he's fairly penalty prone, but I do think that he doesn't get out of position to make hits, which I think I don't know if it's as much of a preconceived notion from before he came to Calgary, or if it's
Yeah,
because I actually watched him while he was in Colorado.
I was gonna say
And
you got that from Greg. Thanks, Greg.
yeah, well, no, he was like that, and he was like that the first little bit when he was with the Flames, and then he got sat for a little bit, and then Sutter kicked that shit out of him. It doesn't go out of. I still have that diagram that I drew in my book when we signed him and Goodbranson, and I have a little diagram showing Goodbranson on one board and Zadorov on the other board, and a 3-on-0 in front of our goalie, because I'm like, this is just gonna happen all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time, and then it turned out not to. So
yeah. They actually ended up being a pretty good
a really good
combo.
pair.
Yeah, they played really well together, which
I mean, it got
great,
Goodbranson 4x4 for no reason.
right? It rejuvenated his career.
Absolutely.
Who would have thought that Nikita would have done that to the man? Well, I
I was
think
watching the Columbus game the other day, and the Goodbranson got in a pretty good tilt. I was pretty impressed.
I do miss him.
Yeah.
I do miss him. I mean, he just really was impressed and happy with the Sutter style of play. Obviously, that's
Mhm.
just kind of who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I
I mean,
wish
Uyghur's been pretty good. I haven't really noticed him for the wrong reasons, like I have Hannafin a few times.
yeah. No, I
Where
agree.
he's
And
just
you know
goes
what?
about his business, which is nice.
In preseason, Uyghur threw a few of those pizzas up the ice, but he hasn't
Yeah,
in the regular season.
yeah, yeah. Maybe he was just testing out a new stick preseason. Who knows?
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, other than that, I mean, that's the 3 games, 1-1 and 1.
Yeah. On to Buffalo tomorrow. Uh
Buffalo
probably
Thursday.
today, because I bet we'll probably get this up tomorrow, would be my guess.
Huh.
Um,
Dylan's optimistic. Yeah, so we've got Buffalo on Thursday. Then, we're gonna take it to Gaudreau.
yeah,
Zadarov's gonna level him. One of these games, Zadarov's gonna take him out. 'Cause
he is quick enough to catch him.
he's pissed off about the way he left. So yeah, I think he's one of the only Flames that truly is angry about it because it ruined his hopes.
His hopes of what?
I don't know.
Oh,
Of great things.
yeah.
Great things. We were so close with Gaudreau and Kachuk.
Yeah.
Really. Not
I was
really.
thinking about that the other day. It's not even like the fact that they left isn't really what gets me, and why they left isn't what gets me. It's like when you have such a good season and when you have like show growth in the playoffs and then you choose to leave, that's what didn't get me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's
Yeah.
sorry, that's what I didn't get.
Yeah.
I get, wanting to go somewhere warmer with less taxes. I get wanting to go what is actually way closer to your hometown.
Mhm.
Despite people saying it's not, it is actually quite a lot closer, and it's also not over the border of the country. But
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all in the past.
That's all in the past. Why are you bringing up old shit?
I don't know. That's not like me.
No.
All
right. So yeah, we got
I
Buffalo.
wish just as a quick aside, I wish Sutter did not lose his mind, because I really liked how the team played that first year and a half under him.
Mhm.
But man, he lost his mind and he didn't know what to do. And
Well, he lost his mind after they left.
yeah, but I don't
Right.
I don't even mean with them. I mean like even with the players, the Backlund, the Coleman, and the Lindholm, and like
Yeah.
he lost his fucking mind, man.
Well, he
And
did. I mean, he proved his point, and he's fucking gone. Right?
Yeah.
So I think
he's out of here.
he's out of here.
So on to Buffalo.
On to Buffalo, followed by Columbus, and of course Sunday in Detroit.
Are you a believer that the Flames bring out the best in guys who are on cold streaks?
No. Oh, you mean the other teams? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, not
I don't
necessarily.
think Tage Thompson has a point yet this year.
I don't think. No, he doesn't. And I've got him in fantasy, and he's fucking killing me.
Yeah.
The one thing that I find of the Flames is not so much they bring out the cold streaks of the other team, but if you are playing a game and you've never had a point, you've never had a goal, you've never had an assist, play the Flames because you're going to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times? First ever.
A ton of times, or even the first in a really, really long time, like
haven't scored in 114 games. Scores.
Yeah.
And it's usually about 5 minutes after they announce it.
Yeah.
As soon as Rick Ball says it, I was like, oh, almost every time.
Yeah. Well, any predictions for those few games?
Predictions for those games. I'm on the fence on Buffalo. They're going to take it to Columbus, and they're definitely beating the Red Wings.
You think so?
Yeah, it's an afternoon game.
Yeah.
That's not why.
Are both of the teams on back-to-backs? I feel like both teams are on back-to-backs. I could be wrong.
I mean, we'll be on a back-to-back. We're playing Columbus.
Yeah. Which is interesting because I heard that Vladar is supposed to be starting on in Buffalo.
Yep.
So that would, to me, make it seem like Jacob Markstrom probably starts the back-to-backs. both of them.
What do you mean?
Maybe they're just giving him the extra day to
What do you mean?
the extra
No,
game.
we the back to back is Buffalo and Columbus, and then we have a day off, and then Detroit.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason I thought the back to back was Detroit and Columbus. Okay.
No,
Okay,
no.
we're good then.
Thursday, Friday, Buffalo and Columbus.
Okay, sweet. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Lots of hockey coming up.
It's good.
Should be a busy week. Flames had the best week in fantasy this week with the best schedule, and I picked up Andrew Mangiapane and I got shit on for it because I always shit on him. But you know, why wouldn't you pick up somebody with a great schedule?
I mean,
I do that every week. Just
I've-
happened to be Flames this week.
that's right. That's right. All right, everybody. Don't forget to smash that like, share this show with your friends, share it around. Join us on Twitter, ArmChair GM _pod. I guess X, sorry, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Here it is.
Anybody has actually called it X the first try yet. Like not
It's-
a single person in the history.
It's always a
of-
correction. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always a correction for sure.
Yeah, and make sure you check us out on YouTube. If you can't watch on YouTube, check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that type of stuff.
Yep.
And let us know how you think the Flame system has been going for the first few games in the comments section down below.
Yep.
And stay tuned for next week's episode as well.
That's right. Until then, go Flames.
Go Flames, go.